welcome to the first in a new series of videos called the Underlooked Bands. And you may be wondering, why underlooked? Well, as opposed to overlooked. Well, overlooked bands to me would be bands that in their day, didn't have any impact at all and were completely lacking in success and just kind of slipped away without anybody at the time noticing. But I'm looking more at underlooked bands that perhaps back in the day did have a little bit of success, the odd hit single, the odd chart album, some TV appearances, a couple of good tours. But since then, as the passage of time has gone by, they are no longer as highly regarded or perhaps forgotten about. And in my view, they deserve a little bit of attention in the current day and age. So underlooked. And in today's first episode, I will be covering the short-lived British band of 1995-1996, Honeycrack. We're going to take a little look at who Honeycrack were and their formation of the band, who was in the band musically, what were they like, why do I like them so much. We'll take a little look at some of their releases and a little talk about their gigs. And interspersed there will be interview clips with the band and some clips from some of their videos and also stuff from my VHS collection of the band. One of the reasons Honeycrack came to my attention was their association with those glorious Geordie noise monsters, those maniacs, the Wild Hearts, who anyone who's into metal from the 90s onwards from the UK will know very well. Still one of my favourite bands. And indeed, if you've never heard their full debut album, Earth versus the Wild Hearts, then your ears are missing a real treat. Go listen to that, in particular my favourite track, My Baby Was a Head, word that I can't pronounce, on YouTube. Indeed, you could fill 10 videos alone of this kind about the Wild Hearts. However, today we're here to talk about Honeycrack. Honeycrack were formed initially by Willie Dowling, who was a multi-instrumentalist, independent contractor, gun for hire, who certainly played on Wild Heart sessions like Earth vs. the Wild Hearts, but also played keyboards live with the Wild Hearts in 1994. Rather than wanting to continue as a full member of the Wild Hearts, indeed he was offered such, he wanted to continue to do his own thing, so formed Honeycrack. And he took with him from the Wild Hearts guitarist CJ. CJ is one of these guys who gives me name envy, as his full name is Christopher Paul Persod Jagdar, which puts my boring two names to shame. Willie took the role of guitar and lead vocals, and CJ guitar and backing vocals, and also brought in were third guitarist Mark McRae, providing a real three-guitar punch to the sound, bass player Pete Clark, and noted session drummer Hugo Degenhardt, who'd played with people such as Brian Ferry, Rod Stewart, and various others, and indeed is now, or certainly became, the drummer in the Bootleg Beatles, one of my, in fact, if not my favourite Beatles cover band of all time. Musically, Willie and CJ's vision for the band was to move away a little bit from the more metal associated sound of the Wild Hearts, retaining some of that power and punch, but to really extend the harmony and the tunefulness that the Wild Hearts had in some of their material, and really taking Honeycrack into a more genre-fluid style, where they could fit in very nicely with what was happening in the mid-90s in the UK with Britpop. They really ventured also more, for me, into power pop territory, also almost Cheap Trick-like, with really catchy hooks, hook-laden songs, lots of multiple interlocking guitar riffs. And it's a band that could sit happily beside metal bands, beside a power pop Cheap Trick style. They could sit him with Britpop bands like Supergrass, and extremely versatile and extremely catchy song-based band without lacking any power, of course.
What we are keen to do is kind of, and we feel that, you know, in 1995 you're actually being encouraged to do it. I mean, once upon a time, sort of 10 years ago, it was so difficult to mix and match musical styles. It seemed that the British, I mean, it was in the record industry, it was in the press, and right the way down to your gig goer, was very singular in their tastes, and even in the subdivisions of music, like for rock example, you were either into thrash or you were into Nwabum, whatever that meant. I've never understood that one, Nwabum. And for me, that's so kind of counterproductive. The relevant issues, as far as I'm concerned, for any band are the quality of its songs and whether it's entertaining or not. And then ultimately, you should be able to deliver any style of music in any flavour, provided it has that sort of band umbrella going over it. We felt that when we started the band off, for perhaps the first time uniquely in Britain, we were being afforded the opportunity to do that, really down to, I guess, bands like Nirvana, who, when they broke, really did blur things at the edges. You could sense this kind of hesitancy in the press. What is this? Is this indie? Is it rock? And who cared what it was? It was just very, very good.
An excerpt there from Sitting at Home, recorded live at Tea in the Park in 1996, which was in Scotland, one of the two festivals Honeycrack did that year. And Sitting at Home was the first fruits of the band's new record deal with Epic Records. And the debut release, Sitting at Home, came in multiple versions, which I loved, being a collector in those days. Multiple different CD versions, red vinyl, 7-inch, and so on. And the great thing about that was that the band made a deliberate policy of, trying to release B-sides that had different tracks on them, live tracks and so on, and really give you some extra stuff over and above the official releases that would turn up on the albums. And Sitting at Home, no exception, had a great cover of Hey Bulldog on the back of one of them, which was also a great track that they performed live. So Sitting at Home itself, fantastic song, great catchy guitar hook which comes in as the intro and is repeated several times. The drive of the three guitars, but also the backing vocals particularly driving the chorus home. Fantastic soaring melody. So brilliant release right out of the gate.
Got your second single coming out. Your first one was very low-key. You seem to be like taking things quite slowly, and the album's not going to be out for a while. Is that sort of your decision to move things along slowly, or?
Very much so, very much so. When we signed to Epic in February, one of the reasons that we actually went to Epic as opposed to a number of other labels that were in the sort of ring, as it were, was that they kind of fully understood that the last thing that we wanted to do was try and run up past glories. We were more interested in sort of earning a few stripes of our own. So in consequence, when we suggested to them that rather than sort of saturating the country rather in 100,000 posters and X million singles, that it would be, from our point of view, far healthier to go out and do a number of low-key sort of support dates, take a limited edition single on the road, sell it in a few specialist shops, and just see who exactly it was that we were reaching. Let it build. Dare I use the word organically? Is that too pretentious?
No, organically.
Okay, organically. We're going to build it organically.
Sitting at Home became a minor chart hit in the UK and garnered the band enough attention to get appearances on Top of the Pops, VH1, MTV, and other music-related shows or shows that featured bands at the time, of which there were many. And their second release, Go Away, then continued that move towards a sort of driving power pop sound with, again, catchy riffs, great hooks, fantastic backing vocals, and a very upbeat, melodic sound, a very optimistic sound, which I enjoyed immensely.
I find it so inhibiting and again, boring, frankly, when a band stands on stage and explores one emotion, whatever it is. I get a great kick out of an intense gig, like, say, something like Pantera, for 4 or 5 songs, and afterwards, after the 4th or 5th thing, I'm thinking, go somewhere else with this, go somewhere else. Human experience is far more than one emotion. There are a myriad of experiences that we go through, everything from intense hatred to joy to deep cynicism. All of these are relevant emotions, and why you shouldn't sort of reflect them within the context of a group musically and on stage is beyond me. And Honeycrack do. I mean, we get on that stage and, musically, etc., there is this whole wealth of stuff that we're exploring. And the fact of the matter is it's partly cathartic and thoroughly, wholly enjoyable, which is why it kind of comes over happy.
We're not tortured artists.
Yeah, right.
Definitely not.
It's just such a boring thing, this whole introspective thing that went on for the last 4 or 5 years. Great songs involved in it, but again, you had to wonder about why people were so concerned about putting over their entire life's experience, staring down at their shoes, introspectively going, life sucks. Of course life sucks. Life's also very enjoyable on occasions, and you should reflect that as well, or I believe you should. Anyway.
It's nice to think that, people walk away from our gigs feeling good. I'd want people to dance, and not feel down or, bad about things. And, it reflects that the band are very up. As people, we're very up people and very mellow, and, we're digging what we're doing now. We're really enjoying it, and it should spread into the crowd. They should walk away with a nice sunshine feeling.
So a clip there previously from Go Away, which also became a minor chart hit for the band in the UK. And then I really liked that interview session with Willie and CJ, as I think it describes exactly why I love this band. They weren't nihilistic. It was a very upbeat, happy, but varied sound with a range of emotions, which was supported by the genre fluid input to the band's influences: metal, pop, power pop, punk, Britpop, 60s melodic and harmonic stuff. Everything was really put into this wonderful mix, and their gigs were superb. They did a lot of really great club headliners in their short time together. They did the 2 big festivals, Tea in the Park and Phoenix, and I certainly came away from all of those with a nice warm glow after a fantastic, upbeat, powerful gigs. So thanking the band very much for that. Really, really enjoy those and have very fond memories of them. That's the track The Genius is Loose, which is one of the standout tracks of Honeycrack's debut album Prozac. And to me, this is still one of the best debut albums of any band in the 90s. In fact, one of my favourite debut albums of all time. Ironically, it turned out to be their only official album, but this was all killer, no filler. So as well as the singles, King of Misery was also a single, and that was contained in Prozac, along with the first 2 releases, Go Away and Sitting at Home. There was a number of standout tracks. The Genius is Loose, the extremely happy and upbeat Good Feeling, Samantha Pope, another fantastic track, And really, just there is nothing that I don't like about this album. It's absolutely outstanding. If you've never heard it, please go get it. It's possibly one of the best slices of rock from the 90s, and definitely one of my favourite albums of all time. A fantastic debut album, some great singles, festival appearances, TV, and a lot of attention. And then, as per normal in the rock world, record company difficulties with Epic really spelled the end of the band, who, after one last single on EG called Anyway, decided to call it a day and go on to other things, which is a great shame, but they burnt brightly while they lasted. Willie continues to this day as a solo artist, also with the band The Dowling Pool, and a film and TV composer. CJ, as well as being a solo artist, has returned to the fold of the magnificent and legendary Wild Hearts. So those guys are still out there. Check out their current material. It's well worth it. They are fantastic musicians, and I'd like to thank them for Honeycrack and everything they did in their brief time. I'll also be posting some of the clips that I've shown in this video separately. If you've enjoyed this, please subscribe to my channel. Click like. There will be more in the Underlooked band series coming up very soon. But until then, take care and thanks for listening.